going on, people? Myke C-Town here with another concert review, and today I'm going to talk about when I saw Death Grips recently, maybe about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago. But first, I want to tell you guys that I did a podcast with K-Death from Moody Black. I'll make sure I put a link in the description section down there. If it's not up yet, I'll make sure I just put a link to his general SoundCloud page so you guys can just keep an eye on it. But it was fun, it was cool, I look forward to doing it again. So anyway, back to Death Grips. They played at the Masquerade, which is in Atlanta. It was a sold out show, and it's not easy to sell out the Masquerade, especially where they played, which is Heaven, which is a much bigger cap than the other rooms at the Masquerade. But the previous time I'd seen them, they played at a really small venue, which was actually awesome, but the entire place turned into a mosh pit. Me being an old man, kind of got annoying. I showed up with my friend Cassandra and her friend Caesar, and was immediately reminded of why I hate big shows. I'd seen Run the Jewels at the same place, Masquerade, and it was also a sold-out show, and it was just super packed. People were jumping around, the floor was going up and down. It's not really comfortable for me. I've never really talked about this, but I get pretty bad anxiety when I'm around a ton of people. It's especially bad when it's sweaty people who are also shirtless. Like, I don't like them touching me, I don't like them rubbing up against me, I don't like them brushing up against me, I just don't like them anywhere near me. So once I got there, I immediately wanted to leave. And after that show, I decided that if I ever buy tickets for a show that ends up sold out, I'm just not gonna go. I'm just gonna get rid of my ticket and just call it a fucking day, because it's really hard for me to go to shows like that and enjoy myself. But Death Grips came out, and the crowd, of course, went absolutely fucking crazy. They started out playing Powers That Be, and it was really cool because they rolled that right into Tachyon, which was super fucking dope. They rolled that right into another one of my favorite songs, which is Come Up and Get Me. It was extremely loud and dark in there, so the video that I got of this show isn't very good, but I'll show you guys anyway. I also don't do pits whatsoever. So I stayed back as far as possible, and this is probably a good thing because I feel like if I was closer, then the sound would have been even worse because I'd been closer to the speakers. But the set list they did was actually really fucking good. They did Get Got. I've Seen Footage. They did Hustle Bones, Hacker, This Is Violence Now, which is, you know, not one of my favorite Death Grips songs, but when they performed it live, it was actually really fucking dope. They did Lock Your Doors. The Fever. And Guillotine, which is the song that I, of course, really wanted to see because it's the song that got me into Death Grips. So it's still one of my favorite Death Grips songs, and man, it sounded so fucking good live. They played a few more songs after that, before they ended, but shit, man, Guillotine for me was the end of the set, man, because it was a perfect closer, and I was completely satisfied at that point. Everybody in that place was jumping up and down, hands in the air, screaming, hollering for Death Grips. It was actually, I don't know, man, it was actually surreal. I knew that they were big, but seeing them at a show like this really shows you just how big Death Grips has gotten. Overall, I think the show was dope. They put on a really, really good show. Very entertaining, very energetic. The sound was cool. What Flatlander was doing was really, really dope. Zach was a fucking crazy person on the drums, of course. Ride sounded good, but he didn't quite sound like himself. I'm not sure if he was sick. He was yelling, not quite like he does on the record. Maybe this was a later date on the tour. I'm not actually really sure, so maybe his voice is just kind of going out. He still sounded cool, but just not quite as good as he normally sounds. And I was a little bit disappointed by hearing like backing vocals being played while they were performing. I understand that's what bands do because, you know, they think it enhances their performance. They don't want anything to sound really off, but I don't think it really helps. You know, I would rather just hear you sound like shit because it's real rather than you playing to your own CD. It's just weird. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't that all of the vocals were playing. From what I can tell, it just seemed to be like ad-libs and the hooks, maybe. But yeah, that didn't really take away from the performance. They still sounded fucking awesome. And MC Ride, you know, he just puts on such an engaging performance. Even though it was on such a big stage and it was a huge crowd, he just commanded the entire audience. And I don't know, man, it was just a fucking rad show. They're playing here again in October for Afropunk, so I'm super psyched to see him. You know, Dead End Hip Hop is supposed to be covering that fest, so it would be really dope if we can get an interview, but, you know, I really doubt that would happen, but, you know, we'll see. Okay, so a few quick other things. I met quite a few people there that either watch Dead End Hip Hop or they watch my own channel, or both. And, you know, a lot of really nice people, but I wanted to apologize to a couple of you if I seemed a bit weird there. As I said, I have anxiety and I was really uncomfortable there, you know, and all the people combined with the sweaty shirtlessness and then tacking on top of that, trying to like, you know, trying to hear what someone's saying and process it and carry on a half-assed conversation. It's just impossible for me. So a couple of you guys that came up to me during the show, if I just seemed to be completely aloof, that's why. It wasn't that I didn't want to talk to you. I really just could not concentrate because I felt fucking nauseated. And lastly, I gotta address something, man. After I posted a video of the Death Grip show on Instagram, I got a few confusing comments. I had a couple people that were saying that they saw me at the show, but they were too afraid to talk to me, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm a pretty nice dude in person. But the weird part was there were a couple guys who apparently saw somebody else that they thought was me. I'll flash the conversation here. One of these guys said, "I'm the guy who turned to you and said, 'You're awesome. You were going hard, Myke Seatown.'" I said, "I don't remember anyone telling me I was awesome that night. You sure you didn't tell that to some random black guy that you thought was me?" And then another guy said, "I found you during the show, but you were going way too hard. I didn't want to interrupt." No, absolutely not. The other guy comes back and says, "Yeah, it was you. You had your shirt off. I forget during which song it was. So loud you probably didn't hear me. Anyway, love the show." Dude, okay. Either there's a guy that looks exactly like me running around Atlanta, or you guys have the all y'all look alike syndrome. And I'm really hoping it's the previous because it really wasn't that fucking dark in there. And to anyone else who thinks they saw me at the Death Grip show, listen, as much as I was enjoying myself, I goddamn sure wasn't jumping around with my fucking shirt off in the pit. And for future reference, you will never see me in public with my shirt off or in a pit. Ever. Alright? Right on? Solid. So that's it. If you've seen Death Grips, let me know what you thought. Throw some comments in the comment section down there. And as usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you. And I will see you guys next time. Alright?